Thank you for calling the Venue Helpline, the podcast where venues share their biggest frustrations, toughest challenges, and behind the scenes headaches. If you run a venue or work at one and you've ever thought, oh, why is this so hard? You're in the right place. Each week, you'll hear practical solutions from vetted experts who've been there, done that, and know what actually works. Because running a venue is hard enough. You shouldn't have to figure it out alone. Now, let me put you on a brief hold for the next available helper.
Hey there, it's Ian with the Venue Help Desk. Tell me, what's going on at your venue?
One thing I run into a lot during tours is couples who get really hung up on the weather. Our ceremony and cocktail hour are outdoors, and I swear some people ask about rain plans like 5 different ways. I get it. No one wants a soggy wedding, but it kind of takes over the whole tour. I end up feeling like I'm defending the space instead of selling it. Is there a better way to respond to those weather concerns without sounding dismissive, but also without letting it derail everything?
No one wants a soggy wedding. Truer words have never been spoken. Now, it sounds like you have a really great self-awareness and understanding that this is a potential problem for you, or currently is a problem for you at your venue. And we know that there are certain types of couples out there that will really fixate on weather, especially rain, sometimes asking about your rain plans multiple times during a single tour. And I'm here to tell you, you're not alone. Every venue with outdoor spaces deals with this concern. We deal with this concern at my venue, Madeira Estates. We have a combination of indoor and outdoor spaces, as well as a beautiful grand fireplace where our couples get married. And this conversation really matters because weather can really overshadow that entire sales process. It can dominate the tour experience, leaving you feeling like you're defending your venue instead of showcasing its strengths. And that's what we all want to do on the tour. But here's the deal. Couples today have more anxiety than ever before, and so it only makes sense that they're stressed out about the potential impending doom of rain on their wedding day. They're particularly anxiety-ridden about spending a lot of money on something that they can't control. So when we don't minimize this objection, it can really make the tour feel like we're repetitive. If we haven't squashed it, they're going to bring it up again, and it can really allow for this negativity to dominate the conversation. What also happens when we don't have a prepped way to overcome this objection, your staff may come across as defensive or dismissive without really meaning to. And when you lack that clear, confident rain plan, it ultimately begins to start eroding at any trust that you've built, and you run the risk of losing the sale. So here are a couple of tips that I have for you, some pieces of advice. I have 5 of them for you today to help you better respond to this objection of rain on wedding day. The first is I want you to create objection-overcoming offerings, or an offering. I like to call them my oohs. These are built-in services that make your weather plan really feel like a bonus and not a compromise. No couple wants to feel like they're compromising or missing out on something on their wedding day. A few examples come to mind that we implement at Madeira Estates. The first is a complimentary room flip. In the case of inclement weather, we move the ceremony inside. Then during cocktail hour, we flip from the ceremony to the reception. Now, another element that we add, one of our oohs, is add a decor. We add some additional candlelight for our indoor ceremonies. Now, beyond this, for other inclement weather items, you can think of including propane heaters for cold weather, even industrial-sized cooling fans for hot weather. And what you're doing here by incorporating these oohs, your objection-overcoming offerings, is that you're positioning these services as a part of your hospitality. You're saying, we've thought of everything, so you don't have to. And what we want to do is be proactive instead of reactive. And when we proactively include these offerings, you're really shifting the couple's focus from that what if level of stress to how thoughtful. And you're really giving them that level of reassurance. My next tip for you is I want you to make sure that you're leading with confidence. So when you start to share your inclement weather plan, if you're talking about those oohs, I want you to lean into confidence and not defense. So you need to introduce the rain plan before they even ask about it. Here, you're going to really set the tone that you have thought through everything. You are that vetted expert. You've been there and you've done that. What happens when you use this reassuring and confident language, you're saying to them that you've got this. Here are a few of my favorite phrases that we use when broaching the subject. The first is, we've hosted hundreds of weddings, and here's how we handle weather seamlessly. Again, here we're setting ourselves apart as a competent, authoritative figure that's helping guide them to get the results that they want. Another phrase, this is my absolute favorite that we like to use in talking about rain, is we say, some of our couples say that our plan B is better than most people's plan A. Here, what we're doing is we're just keeping it factual, we're keeping it calm, instead of being apologetic. And I find a lot of sales guides or tour guides end up being apologetic and shy when they talk about the inclement weather plan. No, quite the opposite. You want to lean into that confident language. Now, once we've done that, we're going to move on to my next tip. Number 3 is show, don't just tell. A lot of tour guides fall into just telling them what the inclement weather plan is versus allowing them to truly see what it could be. We know today's couples really struggle with visualizing. They can't just walk into an empty ballroom. And the same goes for your inclement weather plan. So what I want you to do is show photos of past weddings that pivoted to the rain plan and that still looked amazing. To really achieve this, I recommend keeping an iPad with you. And what you can do is you can have a folder saved on your iPad with ready to go images of the inclement weather plans. And that's where I pair it with that phrase. Some of our couples think that our plan B is better than most couples' plan A. And here, ultimately, what you're doing is you're walking them through this indoor option so that they can visualize it, so that they can see it. One item that I have used in the past to help pair with that is like a one-sheeter or an FAQ to answer those same questions, just so they're not asking it over 5 times, 6 times throughout the tour. Now, my 4th piece of advice is we really need to reframe your rain plan as the guest experience or the couple's experience and not just logistics. Here, what we're doing is we are really highlighting how we plan to keep their guests comfortable, how we plan to keep their guests safe. At the end of the day, that's within our duty of care to keep them safe. And how we're going to allow them to continue to enjoy the day. We're positioning ourselves that this is a part of our venue's professionalism. Our job is to take weather stress off of your plate. We don't want you to stress about that. You're already stressing about a lot of other things with your family, your friends, and so let us take that burden off of your shoulders. And lastly, you want to remind them that the guests are going to remember the celebration. They're really not going to remember the rain on wedding day. They're not going to remember that there was a room flip. They're remembering the funny things that happened on your wedding day. My last piece of advice for you when it comes to responding to rain and inclement weather plans is once you've addressed the objection, once you've talked about what your plan is, how you're going to alleviate their stress, and how beautiful it's going to look inside your indoor space, you want to redirect back to your venue's strengths. You really want to go back into the tour with confidence. So I like to use a transition phrase, something like, now let me show you what couples love most about this next space, and naturally move the conversation forward. When you use this positive transition and this type of language, it's really going to say that you've addressed their concern, but that you're ready to keep the ball moving forward. You really here are minimizing the weather, the rain, into just one small part of the tour. And you want to make it a part of a bigger story of why your venue works for them. So even in the case of inclement weather, we're here as your trusted experts. So as we wrap up today, I'm here to reassure you that weather concerns are absolutely normal, but you don't have to let them dominate. By addressing the objection early, by showing proof, those photos of your inclement weather plans, reframing it about their guest experience and their couple's experience, and redirecting the conversation to continue the tour, you really stay in control of the sales process. Again, it really is coming down to confidence and preparation to be able to turn this potential derailment into really a really big trust building moment. That's it for today's episode of the Venue Helpline. I want to thank you so much for listening. For those of you that joined us today, we love helping you tackle these real life situations. But before you go, here is one last thing. If you want to keep the conversation going, I want to invite you to follow us on Instagram at Venue Helpdesk. And hey, if you know someone that really needs to hear this episode today about inclement weather and rain plans, I invite you to send them a link to this episode.